Coming up next on the Holistic Wealth Podcast.
The healthy habits that we incorporate in our lives every single day have ripple effect. They have holistic wealth ripple effects in our families, in our kids, wider areas, in our schools, in our communities, in our cities, and in our countries writ large. And so that's also a part of holistic wealth at home. Now, when we talk about number 7, cultivating a spiritual practice, holistic wealth also includes spiritual self-renewal. I've spoken about that a lot. And when we talk about meditation and prayer.
You're listening to the Holistic Wealth Podcast with host Keisha Blair, author of Holistic Wealth and founder of the Institute on Holistic Wealth. And now, here's your host, Keisha Blair.
Welcome to the Holistic Wealth Podcast, and I'm your host, Keisha Blair. And today we have another insightful solo episode. And in this episode, we're talking about how to create holistic wealth at home. It's a topic that I've had in mind ever since I was writing the very first version of Holistic Wealth. And I've always wanted to explore it far more in depth because I touched on it in a bit in the book, in the chapter on hobbies. That's chapter 22 on joyful hobbies. That's in the Holistic Wealth Expanded Updated book. But I haven't gotten a chance to really expand on that idea to give listeners a feel for how we can create holistic wealth at home. So now that I've gotten so many questions through this podcast from listeners asking about how to incorporate holistic wealth in our daily lives, this is absolutely giving me a chance to really explore this topic in more detail, give ideas, practical examples, and in my own personal experience about how I do that and how I've done it in the past for a variety of different goals in terms of healing and wellness and restoration and rejuvenation. And so I just wanted to just have this light, quick, fun podcast episode so that we can all learn from this together and, share this with our networks. And so just before I get started, just again, the Holistic Wealth Podcast is sponsored by the Institute on Holistic Wealth, and you can visit the website for a range of courses and resources on holistic wealth. There are various certification programs and other courses, a membership platform for everyone to take advantage of really creating that holistic wealth landscape in your own life, in the lives of your families, and it's a great resource. So just to give a bit of context to this, as I started out, I just wanted to define firstly what holistic wealth means in the context of our homes. Just to set the stage for this, we're in summer now. It's the summer season. The sun is out. Kids are at home on summer holidays. So many parents, are wondering what to do with the kids. We have the lines of work and home being blurred now. More people are working from home. And so the home has taken center stage in our lives. If you will, it's actually that nucleus of our lives. And it actually is that way, whether or not we work from home or not. But nowadays, and since COVID-19, our homes have taken center stage in terms of work or health or well-being or, our living space or physical space. And, through COVID-19 actually became the space where we did everything. The lines just converged into everything packed in our home. And for many of us, that has remained the same. So I think this episode is really topical. It's timely as we try to figure out during the summer season that's now upon us, how we will create that physical environment that's just conducive to healing and wellness and health and wealth and well-being and mental health, and not to mention our relationships with our families, our friends as we invite our friends into our homes, and as well with our spouse. So it becomes that nest and the process by which we incorporate holistic wealth into our homes is a part of that nesting. And so it's very vital, I think, that we think about on a daily basis. So many people during the summer do home projects. It might be just gardening, improving your backyard. It might be just planting a few more shrubs, a few more plants, and it might be bigger. It might be refreshing your bedroom, refreshing the kids' rooms, refreshing a bathroom. It might be simple upgrades to a kitchen, to a living area, whatever you're doing this summer that incorporates your home you can also endeavor to really incorporate holistic wealth there this summer and be intentional about it. As I often say, holistic wealth is intentional by design. So what does it mean? What does holistic wealth mean in the context of our homes? Well, as we all know, and if you're listening in for the first time, holistic wealth isn't just about financial stability. It encompasses physical health or mental well-being, spiritual fulfillment, strong relationships, or life purpose and meaning. All of that bring us more fulfillment and joy, really helps to build our resilience as well, and helps us to get over those life-altering setbacks that we all face individually and collectively as families at one time or the other. And, it's so funny. I've been talking to friends and they've been telling me about how many people they've been hearing about since COVID have come down with so many different diseases and illnesses. And we often wonder, what's going on? What is it with our physical environment? What is it with the state of our mental health or physical health that's causing us to break down at this rapid pace? There's a mental health epidemic. There is a burnout epidemic where every single day we feel like we're running on empty. And so when we think about holistic wealth in the context of our homes, how can we enrich our lives from the base, that nucleus, so that we can improve our health and our well-being, our relationships, and our lives in general? It has to start in the home. And if you're listening in as a parent, I know you know what it feels to have just a bunch of confusion at home every day, especially if you have kids at home for the summer and there's noise, there's lots of things, toys on the floor everywhere. It seems like chaos. So I want to give some practical ideas. And this is not just for parents, this is for all of us. Even as we think about planning our summer holidays, even as we think about planning those little projects that we have in our homes. And if you're moving to a new home or if you're getting married and you're buying a new home as a couple, this is also a very useful episode that you can save. And if you know of any friends or family members who this is relevant to, please do send it to them. If you know people moving, transitioning, getting married, as people try to incorporate holistic wealth into their weddings, into their marriages, into their homes, this is especially conducive. So number one on my list of incorporating holistic wealth and creating holistic wealth at home is number one, how do we create a stress-free environment? And I think with the rates of stress going through the roof globally and everywhere, that is actually a number one consideration. How do we create a stress-free environment? Now, I remember when I took a sabbatical and I wanted to recover from tragedy and grief. I remember, decorating my sabbatical home, if you will. It was a temporary home, but I remember decorating that home and I wrote about it in the hobbies chapter of Holistic Wealth, where I tried to create a stress-free environment. I tried to create my own Zen retreat, my own healing and well-being retreat right throughout every single room of that temporary home. And I've said this in the book, and I don't know if, many listeners know this, but interior design is a big, big hobby of mine. It always has. And when I get any free space in my mind, when I'm not busy working on a specific project through work or otherwise, as soon as my mind opens up, the first thing I think about is my home space and how to improve my physical space. And I remember writing in the book that when I took the sabbatical, and I'm just reading a few lines from the book, from the Holistic Wealth Expanding and Updating book, just to give you a sense, I renovated and decorated our new space with colors that were calming, with decor items that created a cozy feel. So I included like white faux fur rugs, white candles, white duvets, and metallics in the kitchen with black stained glass and glass cabinets with that black metallic backsplash and tiling to match. So I had some white cabinets with grays there and black incorporated throughout. I created my own Zen retreat And these hobbies not only got me through some rough times, but they also brought me happiness and joy. I was surrounded by beauty inside and out, and it got me through the transition period. Now, however you decide to decorate, because this isn't really a podcast episode on interior design or on terms of picking home colors. I just wanted to give you a feel for how I've done it in the past, not in terms of colors or materials to use, but in terms of creating that stress-free environment. So when we set out to create that stress-free environment, we're thinking about the things that make us feel calm, the colors, the textures, the materials that make us feel calm, and whatever that is to you. And as you're listening in right now, I know lots of people have vision boards. I've always created them as well in the past, almost inadvertently. Like if you're thinking about renovating your bedroom, instantly you'll go onto Pinterest and you'll pick out, right? You'll pick out all the different ideas that match your kind of your wish list. And they will appeal to you because of the colors, the textures, how it makes you feel, how it makes you think about your environment in a way that is stress-free. And so start by creating a space that promotes relaxation and reduces stress. And when you're thinking about this as I'm speaking, visualize the kinds of colors and spaces that often appeal to you. We all have different design tastes. Some of us are minimalist, some are maximalist, and if you do the Holistic Wealth, if you go on the Institute on Holistic Wealth website and you do that money quiz, it's the financial identity quiz, which I think is absolutely critical to this episode if you're thinking about home projects. Absolutely take it. We all come with this from a different lens. So ignore my color choices. The point is, though, is to really, really do what really appeals to you. So when we talk about creating a stress-free environment, we're creating a space that promotes relaxation and reduces stress. And this can be simple as just decluttering your living space. So don't think you have to go out now and do over your kitchen backsplash or, renovate anywhere. It can be as simple as decluttering, because I found, for me personally, when I declutter my space, it promotes more calm. Like I feel like my life is instantly less busy, less crowded. And when I went on sabbatical, just to give you an idea as well, when I went on sabbatical, I went with a few key pieces. I did not carry everything with me. And so decluttering our space is also decluttering our minds. It's opening up, it's freeing up our minds, our physical spaces for those ideas to flow, for those positive thoughts and refreshing moments and that feeling of rejuvenation and clearing out the old and keeping what speaks to us. So research has shown that a clean and organized home can significantly reduce stress. Do what appeals to you. Adding plants, orchids. There was an article a couple of weeks ago that I saw that said that orchids are actually some of the best home plants because they increase oxygen in the air in our homes. And if we put like a few key orchid plants in a bedroom or in our living areas, it actually increases oxygen and reduces stress. Similarly, I spoke about using calming colors. That also helps to ensure that your space doesn't feel dark and crowded and like it's closing in on you. So here's an example of how you can create a stress-free environment. It can be as simple as setting up a small indoor garden, or even just a few potted plants can bring a sense of calm and improve your air quality, your indoor air quality. Lavender, for instance, is known for its calming effects. So if you're into using essential oils like I am, indoor diffusers, that's a great way to also incorporate scented oils in your environment that can also promote peace and calm. Because I think one of the areas that is key for creating holistic wealth at home is having that peaceful environment that lends itself for calm, for good conversation, for connecting and keeping the atmosphere really positive for family and for anybody else, friends coming to visit. Number 2, establish a routine. So with the blurring of lines between work and our personal lives, establishing a daily routine is critical. This includes setting specific work hours, taking regular breaks, having a dedicated workspace at home. And what I would advise, because I know what it is to have that dedicated workspace at home, is to leave that workspace when you are done working. Don't use that workspace for other areas of your lives. So leave that workspace like you would leave your desk at the end of the workday if you work from home, and really leave it until you go back to work again. So a routine that helps in maintaining a work-life balance and reduces the risk of burnout. So here's an example of how you can establish that routine at home to create holistic wealth. And this is just one example. I'm sure you can think of many as you're listening in to me. And if you're writing down, then jot down your own ideas as they come to you as you're listening in as well. So starting your day with a morning ritual that includes some form of light, calming, physical activity like yoga, a short nature walk, around the block, followed by a nutritious breakfast. This sets a positive tone for the rest of the day. And I normally start each weekday with a morning walk as well. So every single weekday, I don't do weekends, but every single weekday, I do a short nature walk, followed by a nutritious breakfast. And I also try to cut down on my sugar content with breakfast. Starting out the day with reducing sugar also helps you maintain that, during the rest of the day. So the home or your home can really promote holistic wealth in a real way, in a real tangible, productive way, especially when we become intentional about doing it. So 3, prioritize mental and emotional health. So mental and emotional well-being are key components of holistic wealth. Incorporating mindfulness practices in your daily routine helps. This could be through meditation, journaling, or simply spending a few minutes each day in quiet reflection. An example of how you can do that, many people jot down gratitude notes in a small book or a scratch pad. If you have a gratitude journal, that's good too, to write down 3 things that you're thankful for each day, or just simply say them to yourselves. The Holistic Wealth Personal Workbook is also a great tool to have to start your gratitude practice and just make notes and, as you seek to incorporate holistic wealth at home. It's a great tool to actually incorporate holistic wealth at home across the various facets of holistic wealth, because it has all of those facets well laid out. So a simple practice like this, like a gratitude practice, can shift your mindset and improve your overall emotional health. And when we improve our emotional health, we know we're also improving our physical health, because by reducing stress and inflammation in the body, we're also improving our physical health. So 4, foster strong relationships at home. And I know most of us already have that as a goal, whether or not, you have kids, or whether or not you're a parent, whether or not you are in a relationship. A lot of us seek to foster strong relationships. And wherever you live, your physical space, whether in an apartment, a home, doesn't matter, your home, your physical space can absolutely help you. And it's the best tool. One of the best tools, I think, to help you foster stronger relationships, because our relationships are a vital part of our overall holistic wealth. And in the book, I talk about that whole section with strengthening our relationships. And so even though we may be physically distant from family and friends, staying connected is now more important than ever. So scheduling virtual meetups online, even through Zoom, at home, or regular phone calls to maintain these bonds, so important. I know when many of us are in an office environment, and you're doing 9 to 5, you're not able to do that. So then it gets relegated, right, to the end of the day when you're at home or on weekends, when you're exhausted. But that's why we need to make this a priority. There was an interview with Michelle Obama where she said, our friendships or relationships are not to be thought of as an add-on after we've taken care of our careers, our other financial goals, the kids. it ranks right up there. And I thought that was amazing. That's an amazing reminder for us all. So whether it's the summer season now, people are thinking of hosting summer barbecues in the backyard. People are thinking having friends and family over, for a potluck or for a meal. One example of fostering stronger relationships using your home and holistic wealth at home, hosting a dinner party, hosting a get together where everyone cooks, brings something like a potluck, and you share a meal together. It's fun. It's a great way to stay connected and share experiences. And it's a great way for you to take that initiative in promoting your own relationships. Now, if you have long distance relationships, whether it's family, friends, another kind of relationship, then hosting a virtual dinner party also works. Sharing a meal together online is also a great way to bridge that gap or to stay connected. And of course, when we talk about our family members that live in the home with us, that's a whole other ballgame in terms of really strengthening that in the home. I hear a lot of parents saying now that kids come home, everybody gets locked up in their own room and they're on their different devices. And that's our lives. So it's critical that we get out of those habits, get the family together, bonding, whether it's a family movie night, whether it's, having these events, the summer barbecues in the backyard where we invite different friends over and we bond. It's the same thing with our kids, our spouses. All of this helps to foster stronger relationships. And as the kids are home on summer holidays as well, it's also vital to think about planning out that summer holiday so that everyone is not just stuck on these devices, but it's less screen time and more interaction. Number 5, focus on personal growth. And this is also a critical part of holistic wealth because holistic wealth involves continuous personal growth. Lifelong learning is a tool of holistic wealth. So using this time at home to learn new skills, to deepen your knowledge in areas of interest. There are countless online courses available on a variety of topics and subjects. And the summer is also a great way to catch up on some online courses, to catch up on some personal growth and development. And that goes for adults as well as teens and kids. So there's great ways to do, whether it's a cooking course, one of your hobbies, or whether it's a more serious course on organizing your finances or overcoming financial or money trauma. The Institute on Holistic Wealth, as I said, has a range of courses that you can explore that will also help you to deepen your knowledge about holistic wealth in the different facets of your life. But focusing on personal growth and investing in yourself is never an unwise decision. And, lifelong learning is like compound interest in that holistic wealth bank account. It builds and it builds. It's like interest just keeps adding and it builds and it compounds over time. And the benefits of that are you cannot put a dollar figure on the benefits of investing in yourself. Number 6, practice sustainable living. And I know when we spoke about or we celebrated Global Holistic Wealth Day back on April 9th, and we extended it to the whole week for Global Holistic Wealth Week, which we celebrate every year, we spoke a lot about practicing sustainable living. And I wrote a series of articles on how each of us can do that in terms of incorporating sustainable practices at home. So it not only benefits the environment, but also enhances our sense of personal purpose and well-being. So whether it's reducing waste, recycling, and using eco-friendly products, it also helps in terms of enhancing our physical space. So an example is start composting in your kitchen, or switching to reusable grocery bags. And I know a lot of people have started to do that as plastic, is phased out more and more. But any small change that you can think of, these small changes contribute to larger goals of sustainable living over time in our communities and in the world at large. So when we think about holistic wealth at home, we also think about having holistically wealthy communities, holistically wealthy cities, holistically wealthy countries. The impacts or the changes, the healthy habits that we incorporate in our lives every single day have ripple effects. They have holistic wealth ripple effects in our families and our kids wider area, to in our schools, in our communities, in our cities, and in our countries writ large. And so that's also a part of holistic wealth at home. Now, when we talk about number 7, cultivating a spiritual practice, holistic wealth also includes spiritual self-renewal. I've spoken about that a lot. And when we talk about meditation and prayer, so many people have in their home set up a prayer area or a prayer retreat. It's somewhere where they go to that is dedicated. If you are from a family or from a community that really emphasizes prayer like I am, like in my own family, I can think of multiple prayer warriors, and they actually have prayer rooms or an area. It could be just an area of the bedroom where they go to every single day in prayer. And whether it's prayer, meditation, cultivating that spiritual practice at home makes your physical space that much more meaningful and purposeful. And of course, you can put so many things in that area in terms of enhancing your spiritual practice. So whether it's praying for your family, praying for your friends, maybe it's a particular situation, a chronic illness, somebody is ill in your family and you're praying, whatever it requires for you to be in that zone, to be able to zone out all the busyness and stress of the day, to be able to zone out all the problems and negativity. Because when we go in prayer, we want to do so without distraction and with focus. And I'm zooming in on prayer because I feel that is the nucleus of our spiritual practice. So spiritual fulfillment is a cornerstone of holistic wealth. So it can be any activity that connects you to something greater than yourself, practicing mindfulness, engaging in creative arts. But as I said before, prayer becomes the bedrock of this. And so creating that prayer room or a prayer space in your home is absolutely a way to really create holistic wealth and enhance your spiritual practice at home. So another thing that I want to talk about, number 8, financial wellness. And this is a huge critical piece as well. As we talk about the financial piece, we're talking about summer holidays, we're talking about travel plans, kids at home, activities, potentially hosting a summer barbecue or two, or, whatever party, pool parties, whatever you plan on, hosting requires a budget. And I know also that as we go into the end of summer, parents are starting to think of back to school. So all of that forms a piece of the puzzle with enhancing holistic wealth at home. And we've spoken about before on this podcast, having a budget, but not only having a budget, but also sticking to your money date nights with your spouse. And that's a big part of holistic wealth at home. And for those who are newly engaged or getting married soon and hoping that you start your lives together as a couple, having your money date nights and creating that emergency savings fund, focusing on your long-term and your medium-term financial goals. But take advantage of the summer to create that budget. Start with a summer budget and then go into fall and the rest of it. If you want to bucket it like that by seasons, you can. If you want to bucket it by goals, there's so many ways to do your budget so that it really appeals to your lifestyle and your values, and it's fun. It becomes more fun to you to do when you bucket it in a way that really appeals to you. So take advantage of the summer to do that as well. And whatever summer sales that you see come around where you can purchase items at a discount to avoid unnecessary spending. And of course, if you're hosting, also find ways of cutting costs so that you can achieve these goals. And whether it's renovations at home, starting a new summer project, buying a new home, moving into a new home, also create that budget for that new spending, for that new project, for that new physical space. And think about how you will incorporate holistic wealth at home. And so as we come to the end of this episode, by incorporating these practices into your daily life, you can create a home environment that supports holistic wealth. And remember, holistic wealth is about balance and harmony And so if you go back through Holistic Wealth Expanded and Updated, you'll see the 6 principles of holistic wealth. I've covered several of them in these episodes, but when you think about holistic wealth at home, go back to that book. Look at those principles. Try to incorporate them as you go through your goals for holistic wealth, creating holistic wealth at home, whether it's balance, harmony, whether it's lifelong learning, you name it, financial wellness. Really use those principles to guide you. And if you don't have a copy of the book is available online everywhere. It's in all bookstores around the globe. So you can get that. And don't forget to share this episode with at least 3 friends. I'm challenging everyone listening in because I think we could all use this in terms of creating holistic wealth at home. Follow us on social media. And if you can, please do leave a review on Apple Podcast or whatever platform you're listening into this episode on. Reviews also help others to find the Holistic Wealth Podcast so they can tune in and gain these insights as well. Thank you all for tuning in this week for the Holistic Wealth Podcast. It's always so amazing to connect with you all. Have a great one. Everyone, have a great week, and tell me how your journey is going in terms of creating holistic wealth at home. Take care. Bye.
The Holistic Wealth Podcast with Keisha Blair is brought to you by. Have you joined the Institute on Holistic Wealth? If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Choose your membership plan at the Institute on Holistic Wealth/memberships to join. As a member, you'll get access to free worksheets, advice, coaching, and an intentional design workshop. As you start to live a more holistically wealthy lifestyle, you'll want to stay for a very long time. So go to Institute on Holistic Wealth/memberships to join. If you haven't read the book yet, pick up a copy of the award-winning best-selling Holistic Wealth 36 Life Lessons to help you recover from disruption, find your life purpose, and achieve financial freedom.